Usually when one of Donald Trump's stooges is getting shut down and shut up by a reporter, it is Carolyn Levitt. But today, not only did we see Levitt get shut down, but Stephen Miller as well, who was called out and silenced by a reporter, left him speechless, really, and a takedown that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, it wasn't just this reporter who upset Stephen Miller so much. He started the day angry and yelling about Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker because of what he had to say right here.
In the times upon which history turns. Never before in my life have I called for mass protests, for mobilization, for disruption, but I am now. These Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. They have to understand that we will fight their cruelty with every megaphone and microphone that we have. We must castigate them on the soapbox and then punish them at the ballot box. They must feel in their bones that when we survive this shameful episode of American history with our democracy intact, because we have no alternative but to do just that, that we will relegate their portraits to the museum halls reserved for tyrants and traitors.
Governor Pritzker is calling on folks, as he should, and he's been doing the work of this himself, to get out there, to use your voice, to exercise your First Amendment freedoms, to protest, to cause good trouble. And how did Stephen Miller take that? As you would expect, in the way that only a disingenuous crook like him can. Calling it, well, actually, I'll just have you listen to what he called it.
Governor Pritzker just called for mass protests and disruption, saying Republicans cannot know peace. While Trump's border crossings are down 95% and ICE is locking up 800 criminals, is Pritzker inciting insurrection, and will DOJ take action?
Well, what I would say is that his comments, if nothing else, clearly could be construed as inciting violence. So President Trump survived 2 assassination attempts against his life. Of course, there's been many more credible threats against President Trump and his family and associates. We've, of course, seen the spate of left-wing domestic terrorism all across this country. By the way, the destruction of property sits directly adjacent to attacks on humans and physical attacks. In other words, once you tolerate and once you allow for attacks on property, you're just a step away from people throwing Molotov cocktails into people's homes. And you've even seen some, I think one example of a formerly prominent Washington Post journalist who seemed to be celebrating the murder of a healthcare CEO.
This was insurrectionist behavior? Really? It was insurrectionist talk? You remember that the guy that you worked for actually incited an insurrection? People died, cops were beaten. You remember none of this? Just because you pardoned those 1,500 cop-beating insurrectionists doesn't mean that it goes away. Actually, Stephen Miller, it makes it all the much worse. And now you're saying what? That you're going to prosecute J.B. Pritzker for what he had to say, telling people to use their voice? Isn't this the administration saying that there's no more government censorship, that we're bringing free speech back, that comedy's legal? And this is your approach? Yeah. It's just sad. Especially the way that they act towards the media, like Stephen Miller did in this clip, in which he was just yelling at a reporter, and then he got the thing turned around on him. Didn't like it too much.
You guys ran on targeting violent criminals, worst of the worst. I'm not disputing any of the facts around the cases of these women who were deported and removed with their kids, but given you're looking for more money from Congress, ICE says they need more beds, they need more money. Is it the best use of the administration's resources to be going after moms of young kids, basically?
Do you yourself have an opinion on the subject?
I'm more interested in yours.
Well, what percentage of the, let's just pick an even number of, say, 10 million illegal aliens. Let's say that Biden released, I think it's closer to 20 million. Let's say he released 10 million illegal aliens into the country over the last 4 years. What percentage do you think we should let stay here of those 10 million?
I'm not trying to do a game show.
No, but I'm saying,
I'm just curious if you think that's the best use of your limited dollars.
Is it your view that if a Democrat president releases 10, 15, 20 million illegals into the country, they all then should get to stay forever and for all of life?
Stephen, I don't have a view about what Democratic presidents do. I'm asking what the Republican president you work for and how he wants to use his resources.
So you don't want to answer the question.
Whenever Stephen Miller does this, whenever he flips it on reporters and says, well, what do you know about the situation? Huh? What research did you do? How long have you been looking at this? And sorry that I'm making my face like this, but it's just kind of how I perceive Stephen Miller all the time. Even though he's more like that, this is kind of how he talks. It's like one of those things. Stephen, it is your job to know. That's why he's asking you. He doesn't have an opinion because he's trying to do his job as a reporter who asks the questions and reports the truth. Do you not understand how this works? Clearly not. And clearly he doesn't seem to care that his administration that he's a part of under Donald Trump is deporting U.S. citizens, 2-year-old U.S. citizens with cancer. 2-year-old U.S. citizens with cancer is who Donald Trump is spending money to deport. Not going after the MS-13 gang members that he claims he cares so much about. Actually doesn't. If he did, where was that bipartisan border deal that you killed? Guess we're not going to be talking about that one anymore. But why do they think they can do this? Why do they think that if they just flip it on the reporter, it's, oh, the mainstream media doesn't know what they're talking about? I saw someone in MAGA media parading this around like it's a win. Why? Why do you think asking a reporter what he thinks about a question he asked you for an answer is a win when you obviously can't answer it? That's the only thing that happened here. You just looked ridiculous. And he looked ridiculous calling out Pritzker because Pritzker is right. And he was right with what he said right here.
It's time for us to be done with optimism about their motives or their objectives. Time to stop wondering if you can trust the nuclear codes to people who don't know how to organize a group chat. It's time to stop ignoring the hypocrisy and wearing a big gold cross while announcing the defunding of children's cancer research. And time to stop thinking that we can reason or negotiate with a madman. Time to stop apologizing when we were not wrong. Time to stop surrendering when we need to fight. Our small businesses don't deserve to be bankrupted by unsustainable tariffs. Our retirees don't deserve to be left destitute by a Social Security Administration decimated by Elon Musk. Our citizens don't deserve to lose health care coverage because Republicans want to hand a tax cut to billionaires. Our federal workers don't deserve to have, well, a 19-year-old Doge bro called Big Balls destroy their careers. Autistic kids and adults who are loving contributors to our society don't deserve to be stigmatized by a weird Nepo baby who once stashed a dead bear in the backseat of his car. Our military service members don't deserve to be told by a washed-up Fox TV commentator who drank too much and committed sexual assault before being appointed Secretary of Defense that they can't serve their country simply because they're black or gay or a woman. And if it sounds like I'm becoming contemptuous of Donald Trump and the people that he has elevated, it's because I am. You should be too. They're an affront to every value this country was founded upon.
Donald Trump is running easily the most incompetent administration in history. It is not even close. That is what we see every day. I think these are the themes that we can have the most success with is incompetence and corruption. That ultimately, if there is ever something going wrong in Donald Trump's administration, it's for one of two reasons. Either it ultimately serves Donald Trump, or it's because he is so stupid. Tariffs, great example. He doesn't understand how they work, and so he has robbed you of your 401k. But at the same time, Donald Trump is providing insider information to his buddies on Wall Street, to Marjorie Taylor Greene, to the point that people, he made a pointed show of in the Oval Office talking about how much money they made on an individual day. That's the corruption. Incompetence, corruption. Trump administration. That's why we need to go all out all the time in calling this out, which is, again, we're going back to the well with Pritzker, but just because he killed it in his speech, what he said right here.
What I find ironic about the current conversation surrounding our party is that the voices flocking to podcasts and cable news shows to admonish fellow Democrats for not caring enough about the struggles of working families are the same ones who, when it comes to relief of the struggles of real people, have been timid, not bold. They didn't want to fight the health insurance companies and the drug manufacturers. They didn't want to demand an increase in the minimum wage or require paid family leave. They gave in to the powerful hedge fund managers and tech bros whose blind pursuit of profits is now destroying everything that matters to middle-class families, from home ownership to health care to veterans' benefits. They told us to ignore the fact that most Americans can't afford a vacation while they're young or a retirement once they're old. Here's the problem with the do-nothing crowd, now telling us what to do. Well, they spent their years watching Republicans illegitimately pack the Supreme Court.
Now, clearly, that was a bit of a shot across the bow at Gavin Newsom for some podcast appearances. Not that there's anything particularly wrong with podcasting, but, you know, I don't platform Charlie Kirk on this show, and if I did, I would be calling him out, because the inherent problem with what Gavin Newsom did when he brought on Charlie Kirk, when he brought on Steve Bannon, I didn't love that. Would have much preferred him to go on their shows, but if you were going to bring a conservative voice on, not even a conservative voice, an insurrection backing, a Constitution-defying voice on, at least push back a little bit, Gavin. Come on, man. And push back against these attacks on the Constitution. You didn't do it with your guests. Now you're not doing it with Donald Trump. You're saying that calling out the detainment, the deportation, the illegal deportation of Abrego Garcia is a distraction. It's the man's human rights. Let's talk like that. We believe these things. Let's actually advocate for them. Pritzker is killing it. I'm becoming a Pritzker fan. That's how I feel every day. Are you the same? I'll scroll Twitter and I'll see an Andy Bashir clip. He was putting up houses today. I'm like, I love this guy. See a J.B. Pritzker speech clip. This guy's fantastic. We got a lot of good Democrats. It gets me excited about 2026 and 2028. And we're going to be covering this all. A little bit of positive news when we can bring it on the show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video. Tell me what you think of J.B. Pritzker in the comments. And if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart. Until next time, I'll see you soon.